Hello and welcome to Rolling Out Star Studio. I am your host, Portia Monique, and today you guys see who we have: media personality, author, philanthropist, WGCI host in Chicago, Miss Kendra G. What's going on?
Hello, I'm so excited to be talking to you. You look amazing.
So do you. I'm loving that line.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, of course, we're here to talk about social society.
Right.
And I want to get all into that because that looks juicy, it looks hot, it looks spicy, it looks all of that. But I also want to talk to you about who you are and how you came to be Kendra G. Right. So take us back to the beginning. I know you're an HBCU alum, but we want to go back further than that. Take us back to your love of communications. How did you want to get into first, I think it was radio, and then now you're of course on TV as well. So just walk us through that, if you will.
So I'm gonna, like I just said this in another interview, like the beginning begins with my dad. Literally as a kid, I always had this energy. My dad's a DJ. And I was just happy being the biggest Janet Jackson fan on the planet. Like that was my claim to fame. And then I remember I was like 16 or like 15 at the time. My dad said to me, if you gave yourself half as much energy that you do to Janet Jackson, you could be a bigger star than she could ever be. And I was like, thought my dad was on drugs. I'm like, who the hell could be bigger than Janet Jackson, right? But I think that's when the seed began to like, okay, what do I want to do? And then I knew I wanted to go to a Black college. I'm from Connecticut, went to Hampton University and fell in love with radio. And with radio, I always wanted to make the transition to television. And I learned that I was just so naturally good at radio. And I've been so fortunate to have a 20 plus radio career. As you mentioned, I host the morning show on WGCI in Chicago. And that's pretty much the story. Along the line, I have done TV stints with EBT, CNN, HLN, VH1, Bravo. But this is the first time where it's like, oh, Fox, I got to show love to Fox. They're my first consistent entertainment reporter job. But this is my first, like, I'm hosting the show opportunity with Social Society.
Well, congratulations on that. Like I said, you have such a storied history, and of course, it's Women's History Month, so kudos to that. And then HBCU alum, Hampton University. Tell us, how did Hampton prepare you for your career in media?
Oh, wow. Hampton did it because, again, I'm from Connecticut, right? So, of course, people don't think this, but there are Black people in Connecticut, but maybe not as much. So when I went to a Black college, it was like, wow, not only are these women educated, well-spoken, well-dressed, they're beautiful. Like they're the total package. And it was truly the essence to me that represented Black excellence. So I learned to be on top of your A game. But I will say this, like the Kendra at Hampton is not the Kendra that I am today. And I like the Kendra I am today because at Hampton, the Kendra was trying to fit in. She had this need to be accepted. She wanted people to give her like her flowers and to see her. And that was important to her. And then when I graduated, I let go of all of that. And that's when I think I came to life and realized, wait a minute, I got the sauce. I am the sauce. Either you get it or you don't. And I just learned to walk in my own truth and be authentic to myself and not worried if somebody rocked with it or not, because I was rocking with it so hard that people had to insist to rock with it. So I think Hampton did that for me. Like, at first it made me want to be accepted by people. Then it also made me say, for lack of better words, I'm not sure we can swear or not, but F everybody's opinion, I'm gonna do me. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely that inner work that counts, right? So believing in yourself, having the confidence, showing up as you, believing that you deserve to be in those spaces, and then rolling with it. I mean, look at you now. You have several shows, right? You got WGCI in Chicago. Like, that's super hot. I got a lot of friends in Chicago, and of course, that's the radio station that you listen to. That's everybody that's hot. You're also on Social Society. I follow you on Instagram. So your shows on Instagram, that little dating show be girl, that little dating show be having me killed. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. But let's get into Social Society. How did the opportunity come about, and how did you decide that this was the next best move for you?
So it's interesting. So we could talk about the single show because that's what led to Social Society. I began this show during COVID. I say this all the time. Like I've interviewed Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, but when I created my dating show, that's literally what's taking the career to the next level. And basically, the backstory to Singles on Instagram Live, and now we do have a Facebook show, Facebook on Singles on Facebook Live too. I began it in COVID. I was in a relationship. It ended right when COVID hit. And single life in COVID was a different type of single life because it was like Will Smith and I Am Legend. Like you had nothing. This is pre-mask. This is the world is trying to figure out what the hell is happening. You couldn't go to nobody. You got to be by yourself. And I was like, I'm not the only person that's single. And everybody was doing Instagram lives. And I did a couple celebrity interviews, but I went live one night and said, okay, if you want to find love, I'm going to bring you on my show and start asking you these questions. And no lie, the first night I knew I had something. I was like, oh, this is something, because my slogan is we don't guarantee love, but we do guarantee that you're going to be entertained. And we have not let anybody down in the entertainment factor yet. It's so entertaining. It's real folks, real people that you get to see looking for love. And as it was growing, I began to pitch it. And I actually pitched it to the All Black Network. And in the pitch meeting, shout out to Brett, who is a GM. Also shout out to Anika, who's the VP of marketing for All Black, that set up the pitch meeting. They were like, would you go to Atlanta? And I'm like, absolutely. And then the rest is history. The opportunity they were referring to, which I didn't know at the time, was Social Society. Yeah.
Listen, your internet show, sometimes I just be like, you know what, that's enough internet for tonight, because the people that are on there are so entertaining, and it will keep you, just kind of engaged throughout. You be like, what he say? What she say? Anyway, let's go to Social Society. So obviously this is season 2 of Social Society. Kendall had season 1 on lock. And so now he's bringing these beautiful faces to join him on season 2. Let's talk about what this show is going to offer.
I think what it offers is, we're all unique in our aspects, right? Like I come from the journalism background. Then you have Reginae Carter, who's the youngest of the bunch, free-spirited. She always gonna tell you how she feels. Then you got to have the good girl, which is our Angela Simmons, situation. And then of course we have our guy, Kendall. I think we all bring something unique and important and a different perspective. We all are real talk people. We're going to tell it like it is, no chaser. And it's just so much fun. Like, I love that we all come from different backgrounds. So therefore we bring different perspectives. And it's just a match made in heaven for all of us, I feel.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the guests and the topics that you guys are going to be exploring. Who do you have on in season 2, and what are you guys talking about?
Well, I think one of the biggest things, we had a viral moment. Shout out to Nick Cannon, the Shade Room, and all the media blogs that picked up the Tasha K interview that we did, her first interview after losing her lawsuit with Cardi B.
Girl.
And, one of the questions that everybody wanted to know, which I asked, because I'm like, you got the money? Everybody's wondering, do you got $4 million to hit Cardi B off with? And her response was, I ain't got it. And I thought that was so awesome that we were able to do that first exclusive interview with Tasha K. I'm happy she gave us the opportunity because, media space nowadays, there's so many media outlets that you can talk to and have conversations with. So getting an exclusive is kind of tough now, but that was an awesome moment that we had. And what's coming up next? Well, I don't want to ruin the fun, honey, but you can tune in every Monday to Social Society and you can watch it and see what is happening next. And there's a couple ways to watch it. I want to put this out there. All Black is our main primary app. It's a streaming app that you can do. But if you have WeTV Plus, just type in Social Society. You can see it there too, season 2. And if you already have Amazon Prime, you can watch it too. And do not worry if you're not Black. We're all Black like the Kardashians. If you like Black stuff, you gonna like All Black.
Listen, I'm ready for it, definitely. And I got all 3. I got Prime, I got All Black, I got all of that. So of course I'll be tuning in. But you gotta give us something. Like, okay, so that Viral moment with Tasha K, I was dying laughing because she said it so authentically and she meant it. Like, I ain't getting and I'm appealing. So y'all just stay tuned. But you got to give us something else in terms of guests for this season. Who can we expect?
I don't want to give it away. Like,
oh, Lord. Okay.
But I will say this. I don't want to give it away, but the best thing to do is to follow our Instagram page, which is Social Society All Black. And we'll always give you like a teaser on your Monday to see which guests. We just had Nivea. We've had Princess Love on the show this season. Like I mentioned, Tasha K. So the one thing about us is, you know, we trying to get everybody that you guys want to hear from, because we gonna ask the questions, because you know I'm gonna ask the question, honey. That's one thing Kendra gonna do. So just be ready when you come on our show.
Y'all better be ready, because we're definitely ready. Now I want to get into of course, I said when we started the show, I want to get into Women's History Month. And of course, March is Women's History Month. So in that saying, we're all super women, right? We're women with superpower. So I guess you could say we're super women as well. We have a segment on Rolling Out called Sisters with Superpowers. And of course, we think that you're one as well. If you will, share with us what you believe that your superpower would be if you can have one, if you can manifest one, so to speak.
Believing in myself. Believing in myself. I think that's, you know, I say this all the time, and shout out to Kanye, who, you know, I have more love. I don't always agree with everything Kanye says, but I have a lot of love for Kanye. He's also he's an industry friend that has definitely looked out for me at different moments. Just being attached to him will help your career. But people gave him a lot of flack with having an ego, but if you watch his Netflix special, you will see how important that ego was for him to be where he is today, because everyone did not believe in him, right? And he had a lot of no's because they saw him as this dope producer. He was like, no, I'm a dope rapper. And, you know, you have to be so convinced in your mind. You have to believe in yourself more than anybody on this planet. So I say that is my superpower, is knowing that my journey was going to end me here. You know, I was going to not end here, because I feel like, and to a certain degree, it's starting to begin a new chapter, but a chapter I've been working towards for a very long time. And I think a lot of people in my field may have given up. You know, I'm 20 years in the game. You know, some people might say 15 years yet. I ain't land my own television show. I'm done. And that was never my feelings. I knew that I have the sauce, and I'm not trying to, you know, I got the sauce, and that's just real talk. And if you don't see it, you're going to see it eventually. So I feel like that was my superhero power, is just knowing that I believed in myself, and that my belief in myself would end me where I wanted to be.
Hashtag I got the sauce. Like,
I got the sauce.
Absolutely. Hashtag I got the sauce. And to your point, Kanye is definitely an inspiration. And of course, I've watched the documentary. I had my sons watch the documentary. One of them is an aspiring producer. So he like, man, that's the best documentary on the planet. You know, he don't understand some of the other stuff, but he's like, listen, and you do understand that it might take you 20 years to get in the game. He just gave us a sneak peek of how he began. So shout out to him, because he's a history maker. But we're in Women's History Month, and I want to focus on some history makers that you want to pay homage to. When you think about the women history makers that have impacted our culture, who do you want to thank, and who do you think of when you think of Women's History Month? Who has inspired you?
Okay, 3. Gina Jackson is queen. You know, she was like, I mean, like literally as a child, all I wanted to be was #1 Gina Jackson fan. And I remember one of my first television moments, I was doing radio at the time in Buffalo, New York. And then Buffalo is very close to Toronto, Canada. And they have their MTV version as a show called Much More Music. And I had the opportunity to go Much More Music and ask. Now I'm a radio personality, having my own show in Buffalo, New York. And it's my first time to ask Gina Jackson a question on live television. And I'm crying because Gina Jackson wasn't human to me. You know, she was a figment of my imagination. Like, I'm like, she breathes, she goes to the bathroom. Like, what in the world? And meeting her, and, you know, it was such a tender moment. She came off the stage, she gave me a hug. I was like maybe 23 at the time. And that was my moment. I was like, oh, dreams do come true. And I was like, oh, Gina Jackson's a human being. Bet I got this, right? Then Oprah, you know, when it comes to journalism, I'm always going to have this amount of love and respect for Oprah Winfrey because she was true to the game. And what I think she always taught me was, she always said that her show wasn't successful because of celebrities. It was about regular people, like the average person. And that always stuck with me because, you know, celebrities, sometimes you might not be able to get a celebrity interview. You know, you never know, but you want to have a platform that people are tuning in because of you and the average person, right? So not to shout out my single show, but I think that's why that show wins. And then, of course, I have to mention a different queen because they're all queens. Beyonce, you know, Beyonce came in the game and just changed it, honey. She told you that you could be beautiful. You know, what I love about Beyonce is her beauty to me is her weakest trait, right? She didn't just come in the game and say, I'm pretty, so it is what it is. No, she came in the game and said, I'm gonna outwork everybody, period. Because you can't say nothing about Beyonce. You can't fall back and say, oh, she got there because of her looks. No, Beyonce outworks everyone. And I respect that so much. And then with her showing that you can have all this and a personal life too. You could be a wife, you could be a mom and still be the best. So those are my three queens: Oprah, Janet Jackson, and Beyonce. And my mother, who is in heaven, you know, she's not famous, but she's famous to me because without her, I wouldn't have life. And, you know, my mother passed away actually 10 years ago, and her death has been another one of my superhero moments and powers because my mom's death, I feel like there's nothing worse than that, right? Like I've been through the worst and I survived it. So whenever I'm having a hard moment in life and I feel like this is heavy, this sucks, I remind myself, let me tell you something. Your mother passed away. You wake up every single day. You inhale and you exhale. You're going to get through this. This is a moment. It's terrible. It sucks. But the great thing is, you know, you're going to get through that. So my mother taught me that lesson. So those are my 4 queens for Women's History Month.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing. And of course, your mother did a wonderful job in raising you because it sounds like you got the morals, the ethics, the standards, all of that wrapped up in one. So congratulations on that. And then, of course, those queens that you mentioned, of course, they are her story makers and we all love them. Now, I want to ask you about how you feel about success, right? Because there are varying philosophies when it comes to success. You know, you'll ask a person who has $1 million, are you successful? And they'll still be like, no, because success to me is really being happy, right? But I do like to ask successful people how they define success. So I'm going to ask you, how do you define your own success?
It's interesting because you kind of answered it and it's so cliche. And I hate to bring up Beyonce, but in this song, I think Pretty Hurts, and she's like a pageant girl and they're like, what do you desire in life? And she's like, happiness, right? And I think at that time I was like, huh? And then you just kind of said it right there. But to me, that really is the answer for success is happiness. You know, I think before when I was broke, I thought success was money. You know, I was like trying to get to the money. I was trying to get to the money. And I'm not going to say money does help. You know, there's certain things that you don't have to worry about anymore when you have money. So, but money is not the only thing that's happiness. And we see that every day. There's millionaires who are depressed. There's millionaires that take their own lives because they're not happy. So I think success really, and it sounds so cliche because you kind of said it and asking me the question, is happiness. And happiness is different for every person. So you just got to and I always, one thing I've been saying lately is life is not one size fit all. Like you got to design life for yourself. And what might make you happy might not make somebody else happy, and that's fine. But you got to figure out what your happiness is. And if your happiness goes against the grain of the world, so be it. Like go for your happiness.
Thank you for that. And I want to also ask you about when it comes to inspiring our younger generation, right, to get to where perhaps you are, or to be aspire to be an Oprah or a Beyonce and even or a Janet Jackson, what advice would you give them to when it comes to working hard and chasing their dreams?
You got to be all in. I think the first thing I would say is you got to be all in. You can't play no games with it. And all in means all in. So if it means, you know, you got to move to a different city, you got to be in shape, you got to get up late, you got to network, you got to go to the job earlier, you got to do free work. You know, there's a lot of times like I feel like the money I make now is for all the times when I was working for free. It's like it's past paychecks that I'm getting now, you know, so it all adds up because but you got to be all in. You got to be 1000% all in. If you're not 1000% all in and you don't get the results you desire, you got to have an honest moment with yourself and say, what can I do better? You know, and that's just really the advice that I would give.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Last question, because I know we got to wrap soon. How do you stay motivated to keep going, to get to the next step? And when you get to the next step, you know, go further than that. How do you stay motivated to keep going?
You know, motivation has, oh God, did Kanye West, I think Kanye West said this, giving up for me is a lot harder than not trying. And that is so true for me. Like, giving up is not really an option. I don't even have that spirit. So the motivation just comes from literally the essence that's born inside of me. Like, I don't know how not to be motivated. I don't know how not to want to go to the next level or not have, like, I don't have that issue. Like, more so it's like, how do you scale back? Like, how do you enjoy life because you're working so much? Like, I have this seed of always this ambition and this inside of me. Like, I was born to do this. So it's not hard for me to stay motivated, like, at all. Like, that's a gift that I think God blessed me with. My challenge more so is finding a way to relax and enjoy the moments more opposed to always going for the next moment.
Yeah, I said last question, but you brought up a thought.
That's okay.
when it comes to you know, going to the next step. But how do you self-care, right? Because you have all of these projects going on, you're doing so much, you're making appearances, you got your talk show, you got Social Society, you got your radio gig, you got your personal life. I'm assuming you got a new boo because COVID was like 2 years ago. But how do you self-care?
Just listen to my body. I think right now in this moment, it's a lot going on because all 3 projects are happening at once, which is the radio show, Social Society, the Instagram show, the Facebook show. But when I'm tired, I say pause. Like, that's it. I can't give no more, because my 2 worst feelings is hungry and tired. I am not a nice person when I'm hungry and when I'm tired. So I've been listening to my body more and saying, because, like, one thing, I travel a lot. You know, Social Society is shot in Atlanta. The radio show is in Chicago. I'm also in a movie right now called North of the 10. That's on BET Plus. And last week, the week that, it's all blessings, but the week that our TV show dropped, the movie dropped, I had the radio show, I had the Instagram show. It was 7 days of chaos. And then I had to realize, like, okay, in this moment, I'm tired, so I'm going to sleep. And I'm going to probably sleep for like 3 hours, and I might go to sleep at 1 o'clock and make up at 3 o'clock, but that's okay because I'm working so much. So I try to let my body control to make sure that I don't, you know, kill myself, like, you know, for lack of better words, of overworking.
I love it. Love it. It's definitely been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for taking the time out to stop by Rolling Out Star Studio. Drop your handles. Where can we find you? Where can we watch you and follow your journey?
Yes, it's so simple. So on Instagram, because I'm still trying to get on TikTok, but they be banning me for stuff, child. So Instagram, I'm always getting flagged on TikTok for some reason. But Instagram is Kendra G Media. Facebook is Kendra G. But Kendra G Media on Instagram, and that will take you to everywhere. WGCI, you can listen on iHeartMedia if you're not in Chicago, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Time. Monday through Friday. That is the morning show with myself, Kendra G, Leon Rogers, and Kyle. Of course, the reason we're here, Social Society on the All Black Network drops on Mondays with myself, Kendall, Reginae Carter, and Angela Simmons. Don't forget, you can watch it on the streaming app, All Black, WeTV Plus, or Amazon Prime. And then Friday and Saturday nights is the Single on Instagram Live and Singles on Facebook Live show. Portia, are you single?
No, but I do want to come on your show because it's fun.
Well, no, girl, if you ain't single, we ain't bring you on the show. We start cook you up with love. Maybe you give advice. Maybe you give advice to the single girls one day.
Let's do that. Let's make sure we do that. Okay.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, well, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate you. We're going to connect on another level so we can make sure that happens. And then y'all tune in to everything because she hot. She on fire right now. It's her season.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, take care, guys.
Bye.